What it do? Bedtime crew. Hey man, listen, today I am here to talk about what the UFC should do next after these two pay-per-views that we have announced for 2025. We've got UFC 311 Makhachev versus Sakarian 2. Banger pay-per-view, generational card incoming. I mean, we've got Marab versus Umar, Rainier Derrida continuing the title run, Yuri versus Jamal Hill. Great pay-per-view to start off the year. Adesanya Mavov is a great fight night. And then UFC 312, I mean, it's a good main event. Not the one I wanted for the Dricus du Plessis title run, but still, you know, Strickland getting a title shot. Hopefully they add some good fights to this, or else the featured fight's going to be fucking Cody Haddon versus Alex Topuria. But regardless, the year is starting off decently strong, and I want to talk about what pay-per-views we need right after this. So I'm going to be building UFC 313 and UFC 314, which we only know a couple of things about. No fights have really been announced. All that we know is the one that is in March, UFC 313, will be in Las Vegas, and UFC 314 will be in Florida, probably in Miami. So let's get into this, dude. I'm going to do UFC 313 first. Starting off with the main card, let's open this up with just, something light, for the hardcores out there. If you're a casual, you may not understand the genius of this matchmaking, but all my hardcores out there know that one of the most badass fights you can make at lightweight is Ignacio Bahamondes versus Mauricio Rufy. The striking, the grappling, the wrestling. Bro, this is one of the best matchups at lightweight, bro. This literally is, bro. Two of the most exciting prospects, in my opinion, at lightweight. I feel like these are two guys on the cusp of fighting in the rankings, fighting some big names, putting together a very impressive highlight reel that starts to get them some hype. So I feel like that this is the type of matchup you put to open up a pay-per-view and showcase both of these guys. They've both been in similar spots already in their career. Bahamondes was on the Sphere card. Mauricio Rufy was opening up the John Jones badass pay-per-view. So I think this makes a lot of sense to open up the card. It's just something light, just to tease the hardcore fans, all right, dude? That's going to sell some pay-per-views, trust me, all right? Next fight on the pay-per-view that I want to put together, rematch, lightweight division. My GOAT, Mateus Gamer Gamrot. Everyone stand up right now. Salute my general of the Gamer Army, Mateus Gamrot. Not scared of anyone in the division. I'm hearing a lot of rumors, aka scrolling on IG Reels and seeing that Gamrot Fizzy of 2 is probably going to happen in 2025. So I feel like if you throw this on a pay-per-view, the worst that happens is it's a good filler between Bahamondes, Rufy, and the next fight that I've got on the card. And it also has potential to be a pretty entertaining fight. I feel like the first one was actually turning out to be pretty good before the injury to Fiziev. Makes a lot of sense in the rankings. Two guys that have fought each other before. Two pretty big names in the lightweight division. The winner of this can move up to some fun fights. The loser of this can fight like Paddy Pimblett or somebody like that. So I feel like this makes a lot of sense. Pretty decently big fight at lightweight in the rankings. We're going to put that as the second fight of the pay-per-view. Now we get to talk about the featured fight of the card, and this fight that's featured at UFC 313, I'm going to make this a 5-rounder. I know that's very often unheard of. I think I said already in this take, I don't know, I've made like 4 takes of this from having fucking coughing fits because I'm sick as hell. But if I didn't say it, I'm trying to keep this realistic, but realistically speaking, this fight needs to be 5 rounds. So my featured fight of the card, Dana White, I swear to fucking God, I'm going to oil you up if you don't make this fucking fight, dude. 5 rounds, Petr Yan, Sean O'Malley 2 in Las Vegas, featured fight of UFC 313. Please, bro. Please, man. This is the only fight I fucking care about in the bantamweight division. I'm going to keep it a buck. This is the fight that sells the pay-per-view to that next level, similar to how when they had O'Malley versus Cheeto, they added Poirier to the card, and that hyped it up even more. I feel like this is the type of fight that gets added to UFC 313, and we're all there to watch it. 5-round featured fight, similar to when they added the BMF belt to Max versus Gaethje. I don't feel like anyone's going to complain about this. I can't see people complaining online of like, dude, why is Sean O'Malley 5 rounds, bro? This card's going to be 4 hours long. I cannot see people complaining about getting more of this fight. The first one was super fucking entertaining. Back and forth war. Great striking exchanges. Jan proved that he can outstrike O'Malley. O'Malley proved he can hurt Jan and outstrike him too. The wrestling of Jan is going to be a factor again, but O'Malley's improved his cardio a lot. Jan has also improved. This is just one of the best fights in the UFC that they can make right now. I already talked about this in my long 2025 video. I'm going to put it here on UFC 313 as the featured fight, and you're going to realize why. Because yeah, you have to watch WMMA. You get scammed. Get fucking scammed. Oh my god, bedtime's cooking. They got Jan O'Malley on this shit as the featured. What's the co-main? WMMA. I'm sorry, brother. I told you it was gonna be realistic. Okay, guys, don't leave the video, guys. Please, let me explain this. Hold on. Feature, like, you would sit through. You would be okay to watch Juliana Pena, Kayla Harrison. That's probably the best WMMA fight you can make right now. And you already got to watch Sean O'Malley versus Petr Yan. So you can't really complain that much. This is a realistic 313, because 314, I'm going to make it later, is going to be stacked top to bottom. This is the price that we have to pay. And honestly, it's not even that fucking bad. I think that Juliana Pena is the female Dricus du Plessis. I think Kayla Harrison's the female Khamzat Chimaev. As close as you can get, right? They're gonna make this fight interesting with their beef. It's gonna be trash talk. Juliana Pena's gonna run at her with her fucking eyes closed. I think this is actually gonna end up being a pretty fucking good fight. And it's gonna help make people care a little bit more about the pay-per-view and a little bit more about WMMA. And we all know that Kayla Harrison's gonna win this, and I feel like that's gonna be a big moment. That's gonna bring back Nunes, maybe make people care about women's MMA again. This is a big deal, and I do believe that this would sell pay-per-views. Even though as fans, we all know this is like a low-quality fight, I feel like you have to admit this will probably be the co-main event or main event of a pay-per-view. And be fucking grateful that I didn't make this the main event, okay? So featured fight, O'Malley Yan 2, co-main event, Juliana Pena, Kayla Harrison. We're building up 313. And in the main event, I'm thinking, what is the UFC realistically likely to do? You can't put Bilal versus Shavkat on this because of Ramadan and because Bilal is coming back from an injury. He just started training in December. It's a pretty quick turnaround for both of those guys. You can't really make... Like, me personally, I'd be pushing to make Jones versus Aspinall, but all of you guys acted like that was completely unreasonable, so I'm going to say, okay, you know what? We can't make Jones versus Aspinall for March. This is what you get for March. Pantoja versus Kai Kara France main event. Probably what we're going to fucking get. And honestly, I feel like that's not even a bad pay-per-view. You get Pantoja versus Kai Kara France in the main event. I mean, Kai Kara France is pretty entertaining as a flyweight. So is Pantoja. Probably likely to be next, so extremely realistic in my opinion. And it's a pretty exciting fight. I feel like we're going to get a finish either way. Either Kai Kara France slumps Pantoja, or Pantoja like fucking packs him up like a box for Uber Eats and taps this guy out inside 3 rounds. So main event, Pantoja versus Kai Kara France in Las Vegas. Co-main event, huge beef WMMA fight, Juliana Pena, Kayla Harrison. Featured fight, my main event, your main event, every human walking the earth's main event, Sean O'Malley versus Petr Yan 2. Second fight on the card, Mateus Gamrot, Rafael Fiziev. And opening the card, Ignacio Bahamondes versus Mauricio Rufy. That's my 313 main card. Some prelims that I'd like to see. I'm going to go into those now. Okay, headlining the prelims, I think this would be a pretty exciting matchup. Wouldn't be mad at all if you put this on the main card over some of those fights that I've made, but I didn't really feel like it belonged on there. Let's do Roman Fraudlidze versus Joe Pyfer on 313. I'm going to just stick with what the UFC's been doing, which is throwing unranked people at Roman Dolidze and hoping one of them can fucking beat him. I'm shocked it hasn't happened yet, but let's just keep the train. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just keep throwing more exciting, more interesting names at Roman Dolidze until one of them doesn't shoot a takedown and manages to beat him. I think Joe Pyfer could probably KO him. I think this would be a pretty crazy matchup. I do think this would be pretty exciting. Just 2 of the biggest salt heads at 185 going at it. That's really the only way I can sell this to you. 2 big salt head, juice heads, swinging fucking hooks going at it in Las Vegas in the T-Mobile Arena. All right, that's headlining the prelims. Second fight I'd like to see on the prelims. Let's get this fight together, Dana. Why has this not been fucking made before, bro? These guys have been fighting for 50 fucking years and they haven't fought each other yet. This is the prime type of old head matchup I need, bro. I'm seeing too many people being like, oh yeah, dude, let's do Michael Johnson versus Tony Ferguson too. Fuck that, bro. These are two old heads who still have it. These are the two unks at the fucking cookout that are battle. Like, one of them used to be a Golden Gloves boxer. The other one used to be a state wrestler back in the day. That's the type of unk matchup we've got here. Probably going to be a finish. Probably going to be an entertaining fight. I'm not going to say legends, but two legendary UFC fighters that have been around for a while. Let's do Michael Johnson versus Jim Miller. Watch MJ lose this, by the way. That's what I'm talking about. Watch MJ fucking get smoked by Jim Miller while having a win over fucking Dustin Poirier on his resume. It makes no sense, but that's probably going to happen. Last prelim I'm going to talk about, and then we're going to move on to UFC 314 in Miami, which is a very big card that I've put together. You're going to be happy with it. Prelim for 313, you're probably going to be wondering, who the fuck is this guy? Very good question. His name is Rodolfo Bellator, I believe. Rodolfo Bellato. He trains with Alex Pereira, and I'm going to match him up with Navajo Sterling, who trains with Israel Adesanya. Let me fucking cook, bro. Do you see the vision here, bro? Cornered by Pereira. Cornered by Adesanya. Make them fight each other on the prelims. Boom. ESPN MMA post with 2 million views. You're fucking welcome. I'm a fucking genius, Dana. Hire me now. That's the type of prelims I'm putting together between unranked, random light heavyweights, except it actually has some sort of intrigue. You're welcome, okay? So that's 313. Pantoja versus Kai Kara France. Pena versus Harrison. Calm little Las Vegas card in March. Now we move to the monster that is UFC 314 in April in Miami. Now, Miami. This is where I got in my bag, dude. I literally turned into Prime D-Wade when I was making this card, man. Something about the Miami vibes just got me hyped and got me ready to build this pay-per-view. So like I did before, I'm going to go from the opener of the main card. We're going to go up to the main event. We're going to talk about them, and then I'll talk about some prelims that I'd like to see. Opening up UFC 314 Miami, April. Jalen Turner versus Joel Alvarez. Finally, the UFC will make this fight. This is what I'm hoping for. This is what I'm praying for every night before I go to bed. We get Jalen Turner versus Joel Alvarez. 100% finish rate in either direction. All I wrote down in my notes was, Dana White, please make this fight or else. So, do with that what you will. We're going to open up UFC 314 with two lightweights that are ranked, that have 100% finish rate, that are 6'3". Like, I don't know how else to fucking explain this and glaze this. I've said this so many times, and I feel like the UFC, perfect example, Manel Kape versus Kai Kara France. I'm like, guys, this is a no-brainer. We all want to see this. The UFC fucking hears this from the fans. They're like, you know what would be better, dude? We make Royval fight another contender and make him fight Manel Kape. Oh, you guys want to see Manel Kape, Kai Kara France? Yeah, fuck that. Kid's going to be fighting Bruno Silva again because of the nut shot. Like, it's like they don't want to give us what we want. But this is the fight that we need. This is the fight that we want. They can't fuck this up. They probably will. But for me, I'm not going to fuck it up. I'm going to listen to the fans. And I'm going to listen to my heart. I'm going to make Jalen Turner versus Joel Alvarez, opening up the main card of UFC 314. Next fight on the card, we're going to have a huge title elimination level, like title implications type fight. Two very big names on YouTube as well. We're going to be doing Bedtime MMA versus Kai Asakura. Kai Asakura, I'm coming for you, boy. This fight randomly just came to me when I was making this video, and I was like, wow, this is actually a sick fight, dude. I'm feeling the Miami vibes for Asakura. I'm feeling like he's going to be on 314 just from his... Just something about this guy's aura makes me think of Miami. I don't know if I'm the only one that feels that way, but now that Manel Kape is booked, now that Kai Kara France is probably going to get a title shot, now that Royval is booked, let's have Pantoja's sons go to war. Exciting matchup. Good scrambles likely to happen. Good boxing and striking exchanges likely to happen. Two of the biggest flyweights in the division. And it's win-win for the UFC and the fans, pretty much. Like, if Usyk wins, Bedtime is back. Title run continues now. If Asakura wins, Asakura's back. Title run continues now. And like I said, I just feel like the Miami vibes really suit Kai Asakura. So I'm going to throw him on this pay-per-view as the second fight of the card. We're going to be making this one the second pay-per-view fight. Featured fight of the card. I'm going to be completely transparent. I had a different fight booked, and then I realized that one of the fighters would never agree to it. So I didn't want to, in good conscience, I couldn't come to you and hype you up about this card, and one of them is like a fight that will just never fucking happen in the year of 2024, unfortunately. I wanted to do Gilbert Burns versus Colby Covington, But I know Colby will not fucking accept that shit. And I know the UFC will go, listen, kid. Listen, Gilbert. Listen, Dilbert. Think about all the fans you can make if you get in there with Carlos Prates. Listen, kid. The fans, they love CP. They want to see you against CP, dude. Okay? I just know Gilbert Burns will fucking agree to fight anyone. And they'll probably want Carlos Prates back on a big pay-per-view soon. Burns is top 10. He's a BMF. He'll fight anybody. He probably wants Colby, and he really wants this Miami card. I can definitely see a world where Colby turns it down and Gilbert Burns is like, just give me somebody on this card. And they're like, all right, kid, we got a guy for you. And we see him fight Carlos Prates. Pretty exciting matchup. I think a lot of fans would get really hyped about the announcement for this. I know that it would be better if it was Burns versus Colby. It would make more sense, but this is still an interesting matchup. I feel like most people seeing this would be like, rip Burns. Burns is cooked. But me, personally, I actually feel like Gilbert Burns would fucking win this. I feel like Gilbert Burns would actually be able to land some decent shots striking against Carlos Prates. And I feel like he's going to be able to take down Carlos Prates if he's able to take down JDM and all these other guys. And I don't really think Carlos Prates is the level of scrambler or grappler that JDM is, or Bilal Muhammad, or these other guys that you know, Gilbert Burns has lost to. And I actually think that if Gilbert Burns can survive round one and can get Carlos Prates down to the ground, he probably wins this fight by a boring decision. But I don't know. It's a pretty close fight. He is kind of cooked. He is kind of old. I can definitely see him losing this by KO. But at the same time, I don't really know. And I actually would probably lean towards him in this fight. But that's my featured fight. We got Gilbert Burns versus Carlos Prates. I also did consider Usman versus Buckley for this card, but I don't know if that's too quick of a turnaround for Buckley. Probably not, honestly. You could probably add that to this pay-per-view if one of these other fights gets booked somewhere else on a fight night. That would be cool. Selfishly, I'd love to see Usman versus Buckley headline a fight night. That's me personally. I would love to see that headline a fight night and be a big deal, and we get them everything is about that fight, because I want to see Buckley go 5 rounds. So for me personally, I'd rather see Buckley versus Usman headline a fight night, and I'd rather see a different co-main event to this card. My co-main event for UFC 314, apparently this is happening. I've seen, according to my sources, IG Reels, Twitter, okay, according to my deeply researched sources of fucking Instagram Reels at 2 a.m., Gaethje, Hooker. How did I fucking forget this in my 2025 fights to make video? Bro, I did 40 minutes of yapping and I forgot this fucking fight. Apparently this is happening, and I'm so fucking excited if it is. Hooker said he's fighting in Florida in April. Gaethje said he's fighting Hooker. Dana White, I will literally make a 30-minute... I won't actually literally do it, because you probably have made this fight. You will never catch me hating on this card. I don't care what else is on this pay-per-view. If they make Dan Hooker versus Justin Gaethje, and if they make it 5 rounds, for me, I'm going to make this 5 rounds as my co-main event of 314. But man, even if we get 3 rounds of this, dude, this is the type of fights we need in 2025. These are the type of fights that make people fans of the sport. You got 2 guys that are pretty much in the same stage of their career in terms of damage taken. They're still top 5. They're still pretty good, but they've declined a little bit. They're near the end of their run. I probably lean towards Justin Gaethje like most people, but Hooker's toughness, and especially at 155, he's going to be tough. He's going to be really hard to finish. I think this will be really fucking entertaining. I think it'll be like one of those fight. It reminds me of Chandler versus Gaethje, not in the stylistic way, but just more like I can see Dan Hooker just walking towards Justin Gaethje, getting the shit beat out of him, just still walking towards him, emoting. So make this 5 rounds, please. That would be even better. But even if it's 3 rounds, my co-main event to UFC 314 is Gaethje versus Hooker. So the pay-per-view card is co-main event Gaethje versus Hooker, featured fight Burns versus Prates. You got Bedtime versus Asakura. You got Jalen Turner versus Joel Alvarez. And all of that is, you know, reparations. All of that is like comfort because you have to watch Ilya KO Volk again. I'm sorry, bro. That was like my apology to you for having to watch the main event. But like, it's still an exciting fight. And I think all of these together, this is going to be one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year. This is going to be one of the biggest cards in UFC history, based on all of the names on the card, based on how exciting the matchups are. Ilia Toporia's star has grown since he beat Volk the first time. Volk definitely deserves a rematch. I mean, he's the featherweight GOAT, so... and we're probably going to get this next. I know some guy in the comments right now is like, actually, Ilia's fighting Charles Oliveira because he walks around at 220 pounds. No, he doesn't, bro. He's literally just trying to stay relevant because he's not fighting for a while. He's probably coming back against Volk in a rematch. And I think that the best way to ease the pain and maybe sell the card when most people know that Ilia's going to KO Volk again, or just clearly beat him again because he's younger and just too well-rounded, too good, too powerful. I think the best way to ease the pain of that is to go, here's Dan Hooker versus Justin Gaethje. Here's Gilbert Burns versus Carlos Prates. Here's Steve Erceg versus Kaya Sakura. Here's Jalen Turner, Joel Alvarez. So that's my UFC 314 main card. I feel like that's, like I said, that's probably going to be one of the biggest cards of the year if they stack it like that. Some prelims that I'd like to see. I would love to see Vicente Luque on this card because he trains in Florida. Vicente Luque, Michael Morales. I feel like that's a badass fight, dude. Maybe I'm just like a fake hardcore that's like, dude, Michael Morales, oh my god. But I think this would be a really cool fight. I would love to see these two have some boxing exchanges with each other. Michael Morales is very measured. He's a very technical boxer. Luque's pretty good, very powerful as well. I want to see how Morales handles the power of Luque. I would love to see some scrambling as well. Luque called for a jump up in the rankings. I don't think he's going to get fucking Ian Gary being like 1-3 in his last 4. I think Michael Morales is a lot more reasonable to get, who's ranked one spot above him, but doesn't really have any name value. So that's a fight that makes sense to me that I think will be cool for this card. And honestly, headlining the prelims, I'd like to see my boy return. Bot Nickel Comeback 2025. Let's get the boy in there. Let's roll out the berries. Let's roll out the elk meat. Bo Nickel's not getting on a fucking pay-per-view main card in 2025. I think that the experiment is over, thank the fucking Lord, because Dana White said they need to pump the brakes on this kid. So I don't think they're going to have him opening up pay-per-view main cards anymore, but I don't think they're going to demote him to fight nights. I think a reasonable place to put him is headlining the prelims on a pretty big card. You know, it's Topuria, it's Volk, you got Gaethje Hooker on there. This is one of the bigger cards of the year. And I feel like headlining the prelims against someone that's, you know, fought top level guys, this makes a lot of sense. It's a winnable matchup for Bo Nickel, but at the same time, it's not an easy matchup. Like, the only people who have beat Abus Magomedov, here's the fucking thing, you guys. Sean, I beat fucking Abu in the fucking Apex and got a title shot, you guys. So I'm not saying Bo Nickel's getting a title shot if he wins this, but I'm just saying, look into it, right? But no, seriously, if Bo Nickel beats him, you have to kind of consider him worthy of being in the top 15, because the only guys that beat this guy in the UFC are Sean Strickland, Cal Baralho, both top 5. So this is a good fight in my opinion. That's my cards that I think the UFC should do next after 311 and 312. I would love to see 313 be a great card with Pantoja versus Kai Kara France, Sean O'Malley, Piotr Jan, Juliana Pena, Kayla Harrison, and I would love to see 314 be like a banger 299 level super card in Miami. Ilia versus Volk 2, Justin versus Dan Hooker, my fault, bro, I got CT. Dan Hooker versus Justin Gaethje, Gilbert Burns on there, Carlos Prates on there, Kaya Sakura. Throw together some good cards. Let's keep the momentum rolling. Let's build some bangers in 2025. But this is what I would do. This is my opinion. I mean, I am the best matchmaker on YouTube, but let me know what you think should come next in 2025 in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Go follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Bedtime MMA. Make sure you guys have a good Christmas. Make sure you guys have a good holidays, man. I'm going to keep the videos rolling as consistently as I can. I might miss a day or two because of Christmas, but I'm going to keep the videos coming. So hopefully you guys are having a good holidays. You're enjoying the videos. Have a good one, boys. I'll see you in the next one, man. Goodbye.